wrong for getting more child support than children I had at home? How do you even end up in a situation like that? But don't worry, sis, we'll be the judge of that. When my husband and I got divorced, we had 4 minor children together. Husband was ordered to pay child support for them. The attorneys told both of us that when each child reached the age of 18, my ex-husband would no longer have to pay child support for them, but this doesn't automatically happen. Now, that is common. Once a child turns 18, you don't have to pay child support for them anymore. And there's some other nuanced rules depending on what state you're in, but generally, once the child turns 18 and they're done with high school, you don't have to pay child support anymore. This whole thing of it not happening automatically is new for me because in California, it does happen automatically. You no longer owe the support once that kid is 18 and out of high school, and there's no need to go back to court in order to stop that order. But whatever state these people are in, it doesn't stop automatically, which is very strange for me. Let me know whether you're in a state where child support stops automatically for you or if it doesn't stop automatically for you. We would have to file a paper with the family court asking for child support to be reduced. You pay a nominal fee, file a court paper, and it's done. We agreed that we would take turns doing this as each child aged out, and I would go first since I was working as a paralegal in a state office and was familiar with the filing of court documents. Well, that's nice of her to decide to do the first child so that the husband can see how this goes. So how does she end up in a situation where she's collecting more child support than the children she has in the home if they came to this agreement? When the oldest child turned 18, I filed the paperwork with the court and the child support was reduced from covering 4 children to 3. When the second child reached 18, I waited for either my ex to ask me how to file the paperwork, we were on good terms and communicated regularly, or for the amount of child support I received to reduce. So she said, is it going to be automatic or is husband going to do it? But neither happened. Then a few years later, the third child turned 18 and the same thing happened. He neither reached out to me nor filed anything with the court. So at this point, I had 1 minor child at home and was receiving child support for 3 children. Oh, so she basically found a loophole. Since husband didn't hold up his end of the bargain and filed for the child support to be reduced when the second child turned 18, she decided that she's not going to file for the third child or the second child, and he's continuing to pay for these children who are now aged out of the child support system. That's a little messy. Years later, when the youngest one turned 18 and was graduating from high school, my ex-husband handed me some paperwork to end the child support payments, which I immediately and happily signed. His girlfriend said to me, I just found out that he's been overpaying for years. You knew and you said nothing? You knew how to file the court documents and yet you just let him continue overpaying for 3 kids when you only had 1! I want to know how many years from the second and third graduating did she continue to receive money for the youngest one? Because I mean, that would dictate how trifling it is. If it's only like 1 year for each child to graduate, that's a different story. But if she waited like 10 years and kept collecting child support, that would be insane. But why is the girlfriend all in the mix? Clearly the husband didn't have a problem with it. All of this was true, but he was present just like I was when we agreed that I would take care of the court filings for the first and he would do the second. He knew the kids were aging out and did nothing about it. He didn't ask me, didn't go to the divorce attorney, didn't do anything to try to remedy the situation. So, am I wrong? Oh, this one is a tricky one because technically, legally, she's not wrong because he needed to file the paperwork. She did her part in filing the first one, but it is a little questionable why she didn't file for the third one because it was as each kid aged out, then each of them would file. So maybe he thought she would file on the third one, but he clearly knew how to file the paperwork because he did it for the last one. But maybe he didn't have the girlfriend at the time of the other 2, and maybe she's the one that did the paperwork because I do see that a lot in court where when someone gets a new partner, that partner kind of takes over their court case and handles things. But it kind of seems like the husband didn't have a problem with paying whatever the amount it was that he was paying. He saw that it reduced when the first one turned 18. So if he wanted it reduced, you would think that he would have kept up with his end of the bargain. The original poster edits to add, today I learned a lot of people have no idea of the actual meaning of the word fraud. As I mentioned, I was working as a paralegal. Some people in this thread said I was trying to avoid getting a job. And I spoke to my coworker attorneys to make sure I wasn't doing anything legally iffy. I was assured that it is my ex-husband's, the payer's legal duty to file paperwork to reduce the payments. And since he'd never done so, I have no legal obligation to remind him. That is true. We'll get into that in a bit. I will never be sued. Never be sued, maybe never be liable, but he can still sue you if he wants to. I will never be sued and we still have a good relationship. I was never asking about legal issues. I know more about them than you do. Ooh, you know more about legal issues than we do? Okay, sis. I was never asking about legal issues, but whether I was wrong. Update. Hundreds of people have told me that I am the a-hole, but then again, hundreds have said that I'm not the a-hole. So I reckon it's a matter of opinion, which I'm fine with. Several people have said things like I'm a criminal and belong in jail, but when I challenge them as to what exact crime I have done, they've all backpedaled to say, well, it might not be a crime, but you're still an a-hole, which is a totally different thing. Now, as an attorney, what I have to say is that she is absolutely right. She is under no obligation to change child support on the behalf of the husband in the sense of saving a relationship, because she says that they had a good relationship. If this was a situation where not filing would have ruined the relationship, then I would have urged my client to go ahead and file the paperwork so that they can keep a good co-parenting relationship. Because sometimes that relationship is more important than the little bit of money or the lot of bit of money that you're getting in child support. But this one was not a situation where that was a problem. In their state, the child support does not automatically terminate. The husband knew this. The ex-wife had already demonstrated that if he filed the paperwork, the child support will lower, or maybe it wouldn't lower, because sometimes if you're making more money, then child support goes up. So maybe that's what happened. But no, she said that it lowered. So that wasn't the situation here. And he clearly knew how to do the paperwork because he did it for the last child. In my opinion, it seems like the ex-husband was okay with the amount of child support that he was paying, so he just didn't file the paperwork. I do think that the wife should have filed the paperwork when the third child went ahead and graduated, because they said that they would do every other child. So as the first one graduated, she filed. He should have did the second one, but when the third one graduated, she should have done the third one. And that's only because that was an agreement. But the law usually requires, and it sounds like her attorneys advised her, that the dad is the one responsible for filing the paperwork. I still think it's a little sketchy that she backed out of the agreement without communicating it with the husband by not filing for the third child. But technically, she didn't do anything legally wrong here. So I'm gonna have to say that she's not wrong because she didn't do anything illegal here. Is it petty in a situation that she did not need to be petty in because they have a good relationship? Absolutely. But is she wrong? Absolutely not. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And if you enjoy videos like this, make sure that you guys are subscribed and hitting the like button so that we can reach more people to grow this community. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out the next one where these husbands try to purposely reduce their child support.